Welcome back, everyone. Okay, if you've been tracking the dev space lately, you know we're right in the thick of a massive, and I mean absolute paradigm shift. We're way past simple autocomplete here. Our AI coding assistants, they've morphed into these super smart autonomous creators. Today, we're exploring the absolute bleeding edge of this by looking at the two heavyweights totally dominating 2026, OpenAI's Codex and Anthropic's Claude Code. To really wrap our heads around the scale of what we're talking about, just think about this wild fact from Wikipedia regarding an earlier iteration of Codex, GPT 5.3. It was literally described as the very first model that was instrumental in creating itself. No, seriously, just let that sink in for a second. We're working with tools that are actively participating in their own evolution. That is the massive paradigm shift we're unpacking today. Okay, let's dive into this. The big buzzword you hear everywhere right now is agentic coding. But, what does that actually mean for us? We're talking about artificial intelligence that doesn't just write a line of code when you prompt it. It independently plans out a whole solution, executes multiple steps across various files, and then, get this, it verifies its own work. It's not just a typewriter anymore, it's a full-on teammate. So here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with the agentic era arriving, then compare local control versus cloud autonomy. After that, we'll tackle the dreaded Friday backlog, look at how these tools are moving beyond the code base, dig into the enterprise infrastructure powering it all, and finally, help you choose your AI agent.
Number 1. The Agentic Era arrives, a new paradigm.
Looking at the current 2026 landscape, the arrival of this new paradigm is basically being driven by two monumental technological achievements, OpenAI's GPT 5.5 and Anthropic's Claude Code. These platforms have completely redefined what developers can knock out in a single sitting. But here's the thing. While both are incredibly powerful, they take fundamentally different philosophical approaches. On one side, we have Claude Code, which leans heavily into deep, local integration right on your machine, demanding a real developer-in-the-loop mindset. On the other side, we've got OpenAI's Codex, which operates a lot more like a remote, autonomous worker, pulling tasks into isolated cloud sandboxes and executing them all in parallel.
Number 2. Local control versus cloud autonomy, the contenders.
All right, let's look at what this means for your daily workflow, starting with local control. Claude Code is literally designed to live directly inside your terminal. It's built for those high-stakes, single-step tasks where having a human firmly in the loop isn't just a nice-to-have, it's a hard requirement for accuracy. This approach gives Claude deep, incredible awareness of your entire local codebase. It hooks right into your IDE, working through these interactive loops where you're constantly guiding its reasoning. Powered by the incredibly precise Claude Opus 4.7 model, it scores an impressive 64.3% on the SWE Bench Pro Bench. Think of it as a brilliant, highly focused copilot sitting right next to you, looking at exactly what you're looking at. And then, in the other corner, we have the newly unified Codex system. This is an entirely different beast. Powered by the heavy-hitting GPT 5.5 model, it absolutely crushes the Terminal Bench 2.0 with an 82.7% score. Instead of working locally, Codex spins up isolated cloud-based sandboxes. You access it via ChatGPT or your IDE, and you just hand off massive, multi-step executions. You can essentially tell it to go grind on a multi-hour task while you, go grab a coffee. Number 3, the Friday backlog, a day in the life. Let's move to and see how this builds in a real-world scenario. Picture this. It's 4 p.m. on a Friday. You're staring down a massive backlog. You've got a flaky integration test that's been read for weeks, completely missing API docs, and a critical refactor pull request that absolutely has to land before the Monday release. Usually, your weekend is toast, right? But instead, you hand the entire backlog over to the agent. Codex simultaneously spins up parallel cloud sandboxes. In Sandbox A, it runs the test suite and patches the flaky test. In Sandbox B, it reads the code diffs and drafts your API docs. And in Sandbox C, it independently proposes the refactor PR. It handles all this concurrently, just waiting for your final review and merge. Honestly, it's nothing short of miraculous. Number 4, beyond the code base, agents enter the office. Now, what's really interesting about this slide is how the story completely leaves the terminal. With the massive updates that rolled out in April 2026, we saw these agents break totally out of the developer environment. They've entered the broader office, transforming into general-purpose business agents that anyone can leverage, regardless of technical background. The sheer scope here is insane. Codex now features macOS computer use, meaning it literally reads your screen, clicks your mouse, and types in native desktop apps. It's got in-app browser automation, image generation with GPT Image 1.5, and these scheduled background agents that wake up and run tasks while you're fast asleep. With over 90 enterprise plugins available right at launch, a finance lead can literally ask the agent to update a Q2 sales sheet and email the summary to the team, all executed autonomously.
Number 5. Enterprise infrastructure, the engine room.
Now, having agents that can write complex code, surf the web, and click around your desktop requires a staggering amount of compute power, not to mention incredibly tight security. To really grasp the scale of adoption here, look at this number, 10,000. That is the number of NVIDIA employees across engineering, legal, marketing, and HR who are actively using GPT 5.5 powered Codex right now to automate their daily workflows. That is enterprise deployment at a truly massive scale.
And the secret sauce making this remotely viable and economically affordable is the next generation infrastructure itself. Codex is powered by NVIDIA GB200 NVL72 Rockscale systems. This hardware delivers a staggering 35 times lower cost per million tokens compared to prior generations. It's exactly this leap in processing efficiency that makes running millions of autonomous tasks a reality for businesses today.
But hey, with that kind of crazy scale comes the absolute necessity for security. You can't just let an AI agent loose on your company's proprietary data without some serious guardrails. That's exactly where platforms like Northflank come in, utilizing secure containers and micro VMs to keep agentic workflows totally locked down and isolated. Companies are managing centralized API secrets, using cloud VM SSH connections to safeguard data, and some are even turning to self-hosted open-source models like DeepSeek for complete, uncompromised control over their infrastructure.
Number 6. Choosing your AI agents, the verdict.
So the crucial point is, which of these fantastic tools should your team actually adopt? Both represent the absolute pinnacle of 2026 AI capabilities, but as we've seen, they're built for entirely different workflows. The decision really comes down to your priority. If your goal is deep local analysis, interactive precision, and you want your developer highly engaged in the loop, Claude Code in the terminal is an absolute powerhouse. But if you want to delegate massive, multi-hour tasks, rely on cloud-based parallel automation, and have the AI act across your browser and desktop apps, OpenAI's Codex is unparalleled. And truthfully, a lot of top-tier teams aren't choosing just one. They're using Claude for high-stakes local edits and Codex for the heavy-lifting background automation. It is just an incredible time to be working in tech right now. Which brings us to a final, kind of provocative thought to leave you with today. If AI agents can now read your screen, independently control your web browser, execute hours of complex tasks while you sleep, and, as we saw earlier, even help build themselves, what will your role be in the workflows of tomorrow? It's a thrilling, maybe slightly daunting question, but definitely one we all need to be thinking about. Thanks for exploring the bleeding edge with me today. Keep learning, stay focused, and I'll catch you next time.